This is Varsapura, an open-world action RPG where the rain falling on the city isn't just weather, it's a physical manifestation of humanity's collective subconscious made real. You play as a woman with no memory, hunting down the person who killed her former self, armed with nothing but an umbrella and a vendetta, in a world where a supernatural corruption called Mindrot warps reality and spawns shadow creatures from the darkness of human thought. November 2025 brought a 31-minute gameplay demo that immediately went viral, and the studio behind it caught everyone off guard. This comes from the same developers who made Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. Colorful anime characters, gacha mechanics, and revenue numbers that would make most publishers weep with jealousy. That's what this company does. Genshin alone pulled in $1 billion within 6 months on mobile. When a studio prints money like that, you don't expect them to suddenly announce a dark psychological horror game built in Unreal Engine 5 with realistic graphics and a mature tone, and yet Varsapura exists, and I'm kind of obsessed with how strange this whole announcement feels. Let me break down everything we actually know because there's a lot here worth covering. Varsapura is open-world action RPG. Sounds standard enough until you see what they're actually building. Varsapura pulls its name from Sanskrit, with Varsa meaning rain and Pura meaning city, which translates literally to City of Rain. That's a direct play on Singapura, the Malay name for Singapore, and the connection runs deeper than just wordplay, because this game takes place in a fictionalized version of Singapore's downtown. Singapore as a setting makes this one of the most unique open worlds we've seen in years. Tokyo shows up in games constantly, same with New York, Los Angeles, and Hong Kong. But here's the thing, I genuinely cannot think of another AAA game that recreates Singapore. Hollowone didn't just loosely reference the city either. They straight up rebuilt recognizable landmarks like Fort Canning, Bugis and Clark Quay, and even specific street names like Rochor Road and Serangoon Road appear throughout the game world. Reddit users from Singapore have been pointing out that the developers grabbed whole pockets of downtown and mixed them together in ways that don't make geographic sense but remain instantly recognizable to anyone who's walked those streets. One joke keeps circulating in the community: Singaporean players can finally drive around their city without needing a certificate of entitlement, which for those unfamiliar refers to Singapore's notoriously expensive car ownership permit. Vehicle driving comes confirmed in this game, and that's why people keep calling it Supernatural GTA. Hollowone serves as your protagonist, codenamed I-07, and her memory sits completely blank. Past gone, identity unknown, classic amnesia setup, but with a revenge twist baked into the premise. She voluntarily joins an organization called SEAL, which stands for Shadow Emergency Alliance, and their job involves monitoring and containing paranormal threats across the city. Hollowone doesn't care about saving the world though. She joins SEAL hunting for one specific agent who apparently killed her former self, and the only identifying feature she can remember about this person is a distinctive snake scale umbrella. Mindrot functions as the main supernatural threat in this world, a tar-like substance that stems from humanity's collective consciousness. Reality warps around it, minds get corrupted by exposure, and shadow creatures spawn throughout the city wherever it spreads. And that's when the setting detail clicks into place. The perpetual rain covering the entire city isn't just aesthetic atmosphere, it's literally a physical manifestation of humanity's collective subconscious made tangible. The rain itself carries supernatural properties. SEAL operates from headquarters, featuring brutalist architecture with hallways that shift and reshape during what they call disruption events, paranormal telephones scattered throughout the building, and vintage camcorders everywhere you look. That description probably sounds familiar, and we'll get to the control comparisons shortly because every gaming outlet made them. 3 major firsts define what Varsapura represents for Hollowone, and each one carries weight. Unreal Engine 5 replaces Unity for the first time in the studio's history. Realistic visual style replaces their signature cel-shaded anime look for environments, and dialogue skill checks with actual tabletop RPG systems including persuasion, deception, and empathy options appear for the first time in any of their games. On NVIDIA RTX 4090 captured the entire demo, and the technical showcase really demonstrates UE5's capabilities. Dynamic lighting runs through Lumen, nanite geometry creates insanely detailed environments, advanced rain effects actually look wet on surfaces, and destructible surroundings react to combat. The visual quality lands legitimately impressive territory. Here's where the art direction gets interesting though. Environments render photorealistically with gritty, grounded textures, but characters retain anime-inspired features including large eyes and stylized hair rendered through more realistic CG textures than previous Hoyoverse titles. Deliberate contrast exists between character designs and the world surrounding them. Some people love this hybrid approach and think it creates something unique. Others find the contrast jarring and distracting. That uncanny valley effect probably works in favor of a psychological horror game, but reactions will definitely vary. MiHoYo operates as the company's name in China, founded back in 2011 by 3 Shanghai University classmates with the company motto Tech Otaku Save the World. Versapura carried the internal codename Project PJSH, and development started around 2020, which means this reveal represents roughly 5 years of work behind the scenes. 3-character party combat with real-time swapping mid-combo will feel immediately familiar to anyone who's touched their other games. Normal attacks, 1 elemental or special skill, and 1 ultimate burst ability define each character's kit, plus intro and outro attacks trigger when swapping that chain into what they're calling cooperative techniques. 3 playable characters appeared in the demo, and each fighting style stands distinctly apart from the others. Hollowone wields an umbrella functioning as melee weapon, ranged boomerang when thrown, AoE sweep when opened, and even a gliding tool for city traversal. Sayuki fights using enchanted police documents and stacks of paperwork, which sounds absurd but apparently looks great in motion. Doki brings strong Harley Quinn energy to the roster and swings around a massive wrecking ball-style flail. Stealth mechanics mark the biggest departure for Hoyoverse since none of their previous games included anything like it. Stunning enemies, repositioning when spotted, and executing silent assassinations for instant takedowns all appear as options during gameplay. Combined with vehicle driving through the open world and umbrella gliding across rooftops, Varsapura feels like a much more varied experience than anything they've built before. Every gaming outlet made the exact same observation, and I need to address it directly. Versapura looks like Control. Remedy Entertainment's 2019 game about the Federal Bureau of Control clearly influenced this project, and that influence lands about as subtle as a wrecking ball. Kotaku described Versapura as something more akin to Remedy's Control than Nintendo's Breath of the Wild. Games Radar wrote that it screams Control so loud they'd bet Remedy heard it in Finland. Inverse stated flat out that the influence of Remedy's Control appears immediately apparent. Seal's headquarters with brutalist architecture, shape-shifting hallways, paranormal objects scattered throughout, and bureaucratic horror aesthetic feels like it could exist in the same universe as the oldest house. Whether this reads as loving homage or derivative design depends entirely on how much you enjoyed Control and how much originality you expect from a new IP. Singapore as a setting, the combat systems, dialogue skill checks, and stealth mechanics all differentiate Varsapura from Remedy's game in meaningful ways. The atmosphere and vibe carry that undeniable connection though, and Hoyoverse has to know players will make the comparison immediately. Here's the thing, putting everyone in wait-and-see mode. Every single Hoyoverse game uses free-to-play gacha monetization. That's their entire business model and always has been. When the Varsapura demo showed 3 playable characters swapping during combat, the community immediately noticed all 3 designs fit the very marketable character archetype perfectly. One resetter user captured the sentiment exactly when they wrote that they were almost convinced it wasn't a gacha game until the open-world gameplay showed switching between 3 easily marketable characters. No monetization model sits confirmed for Varsapura at this point. UE5 visuals, a PC-focused demo running on an RTX 4090, and mature tone all suggest this could land as a premium release. Hoyoverse has never released a paid game before though. Their entire empire runs on free-to-play with gacha pulls generating the revenue. Will Varsapura break that pattern, or will familiar monetization eventually surface like it always does? That uncertainty creates real hesitation across the community right now. Players who avoid gacha games entirely feel curious, but remain cautious about getting invested. Existing Hoyoverse fans aren't sure what expectations to set. Nobody wants to build hype for what looks like a premium single-player experience, only to discover another gacha game with aggressive monetization waiting underneath. No release date exists in any official capacity, no platforms carry confirmation, no pricing model has appeared anywhere. July 2025 brought the trademark filing, and the demo literally ends with active job listings across Shanghai, Singapore, and Los Angeles offices, which tells you substantial development work remains ahead. Hoyoverse's previous games offer some timeline context for speculation. Honkai Star Rail took about a year and a half from first beta to launch. Zenless Zone Zero needed roughly 2 years for the same journey. Given that Varsapura appears earlier in its development cycle based on the aggressive hiring push, analysts speculate late 2027 or possibly even later for release. One Easter egg caught community attention though. An application number visible in the demo displays 2026.0401, which could hint at an April 2026 beta test, but that date also lands on April 1st, so it might just be the developers having fun with an April Fool's reference. Technical demands shown in that demo virtually guarantee PC and consoles receive priority, and mobile support remains uncertain because running UE5 at this fidelity on phones presents serious challenges. Social media presence sits minimal for now. Around 5,700 followers populate the official Twitter account, but no posts have appeared yet. YouTube hosts the demo. Accounts exist on TikTok, Bilibili, and HoYoLab, but no Discord server or dedicated subreddit operates at this point. Varsapura fascinates because it represents Hoyoverse, attempting to become something entirely different from what made them successful. A company that perfected one formula and generated billions doing it now bets on a dark psychological thriller with realistic graphics, mature themes, and gameplay systems they've never attempted before. Control's influence lands obvious, maybe too obvious for some viewers, but Singapore as a setting brings genuinely fresh territory, and the combat looks like smart evolution of systems they've already proven work. The real question isn't whether this game looks interesting, because it clearly does. What matters is whether Hoyoverse can resist making it another gacha game, and whether they can deliver on the promise packed into that 31-minute demo. Answers won't arrive for at least another year or two, but right now Varsapura stands as one of the most intriguing announcements in gaming. A studio known for colorful anime adventures, trying to build their version of Control set in supernatural Singapore, represents exactly the kind of weird ambitious swing I want to see more companies take. More coverage will definitely come as news drops, so subscribe if you want updates on this one. Drop your thoughts in the comments about Hoyoverse going in this direction, and whether those Control comparisons bother you or actually make you more interested. Catch you in the next one.